Ostrich Farm, good news. This is why Drea and I are able to be home and we're not babysitting ostriches, or rather the CFIA, because ostriches don't need to be babysat. They have farmers for that. But
Right.
we're babysitting the CFIA. The birds are likely to live through the week. Below are the application for leave to appeal cases expected to receive judgments this week in the Supreme Court. Universal Ostrich Farms, Inc. versus the Canadian Food Inspection Agency is not among them. She confirmed with the courts that while subject to change, so this could change last minute, officially, they're not going to make any decision about whether or not the farm will be granted leave, which will mean the birds can live on until the Supreme Court hears the case, or no leave, and then for the birds, ratites, as I've learned they are. So typically a list like this is released the week prior to when a decision will be rendered. So so far, so good. The birds will be okay this week, it sounds like, unless they sort of sneak something in under the wire. But I don't know. It seems like okay, but we're watching carefully, and as you know, Drea is just like all over this, like white on rice. So.
Right. So we're just in a continued holding pattern on the ostriches. Nothing. Yeah. Nothing is. Nothing is. Yeah. Nothing is changing right now. Everything is just sort of staying status quo.
Yeah.
And no emergency news coming out of. Actually, that's not true, because Drea, every time I look, Drea's telling us another piece of emergency news coming out of the ostrich farm. And even when nothing is happening, things are happening at the ostrich farm.
Right.
And do we have a quick update on what's happening right now on the ground at the ostrich farm?
So we've got something that happened over the weekend. So there are a good amount of people who are still at the ostrich farm, including Chris Stacy.
He's such a peach. Yeah.
We left the farm in good hands. Like I said, that guy, if he'd moved to Alberta, he would just blend right into the scenery. He'd be perfectly fine. And he wouldn't have to worry about Antifa or Hamas radicals beating him up. He would be living the dream here. And I don't understand how, I looked at him like, yeah, it's no wonder you stick out like a sore thumb in Ottawa. You're the most Albertan guy in Ottawa who's not from here. What are you doing? Anyway, let's skip ahead to Drea, showing the CFIA's incompetence. And in fact, I saw it firsthand. Just their inability to even manage the animals, just even to get them from pen to pen. I'm like, you are not good at this. This is from over the weekend. The farm released new footage exposing more CFIA incompetence. Consistent with statements farmer Dave Belinsky previously told Rebel News, the video shows him warning the CFIA that Spirit, an injured hen who later died in the agency's care, needed urgent help. It also shows the CFIA staff guessed the bird's temperature, assumed she was drinking without seeing her do so, and are running a multi-million-dollar seizure of hundreds of avian flu recovered ostriches without a qualified vet on scene. Even worse, they're taunting the bird with water. She's likely too weak to drink in front of a manure pile that she's on. Like, this is just horrific.
You don't have to be an animal care expert or an ostrich expert
to know this ain't good.
To see that bird is not doing well.
She's struggling.
She's emergent care. Yeah.
Right. I'm by no means an animal rights activist. I'm a farmers' rights activist. And I also realize that well cared for animals they taste better. And, but this bird is somebody else's property, and they have taken custody of somebody else's property. And now they are diminishing the value of that property. This is like having crackheads for tenants right now, with the damage they are doing to the property of the Pisitnys and the Belinskys. This is outrage. This is an animal suffering. And
this is animal abuse is what it is. And where they admit that they're, what is the ostrich's temperature? Well, it's 38 degrees. Well, how do you know? It's just meh. Because that's how you take vital signs of a living creature, is you just guess.
They're just all standing around while this animal is quite literally suffering to death. They refuse. The worst part is the farmers are like, if you're not going to care for her, let us do it. And they're like, no, you can't. Why? Because it's about power and control, and not about the animals, not about health. If you care about the health of animals, which is what they say this is all about, this is about public health, there's an animal suffering and you guys aren't caring for it.
Just standing there in your silly white suits.
Yeah. How are they look at I mean, how frustrating and heartbreaking is this for Dave?
Yeah.
Who's standing there?
Just pleading with them, pleading like, listen, I get that you guys aren't doing it, don't know how,
Right.
and aren't capable. Let me do it. And they're like, no,
No, she's gonna
no, farmer
suffer.
man.
We're
Back
gonna
off, farmer
stand
man.
here and watch this animal suffer to death. And like I'm a farmer. I am I animals die. That's what they do. We're all nobody gets out of here alive, right?
Mm.
Ostriches, people, nobody gets out of here alive. And I hunt. But this is absolute unnecessary animal suffering, and you have to be a monster to watch this and be okay with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, truly. Well, that's your Canadian tax dollars at work, Canada, with your Canadian Food Inspection Agency.
Yeah.
Look what they would do.